Hi everyone, it's Stephanie.
Hi, this is Emily.
And today we're talking about a series called Looking for Normal series, Book 1 and Book 2, Left Out and A Fortune Cookie by Jean Gill. This is given to us by the author herself, so thank you for sending it over so we can read and review it.
And so it's both of these books kind of follow the storylines of Ryan and Jamie, who are both interested and devoted to writing articles or notes to their school newspaper for the first book, and I think for the second one as well.
Yeah, it was kind of yes and no, because there was an issue with the school newspaper, I believe, and so she started doing a lot of notes. And so basically the premise of the first book, Left Out, is basically Jamie is left-handed, and she's becoming frustrated with the fact that the world seems to be geared towards right-handed people. So she came up with her friend Ryan and decided to write articles just to kind of, showcase the struggles between left-handed and right-handed people. Gave us a lot of factual about famous left-handed people, sports that were geared more towards right-handed, which is why it's unfair for left-handed, or vice versa, because there are some sports that are favored for left-handed people. So the book itself was really cute, I think. I would say that it was more factually driven as opposed to plot driven. So the plot itself didn't really go too much into anything, to be honest. The character development also didn't really change too much. It was more like research and fact driven.
And I also found this book pretty entertaining just because I myself am left-handed. So I really resonated with a lot of the messages that were sent in the book. In terms of the facts, it was definitely a good ego booster because I was like, oh, there's all these famous people who are also left-handed. Yeah. Sorry. It's like those things that they don't really write in their biographies.
Yeah,
it's like one of those things where if you're blind, people will write about it. If you're deaf, people will write about it. But if you're left-handed, no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, this person was left-handed.
That's the reason why I was a little confused with this book, because I didn't really see, as a right-handed person, I didn't really see the purpose of it. I was like, well, I mean, everyone knows there are left-handed and right-handed people. We're not like in the Stone Era where people were calling people who were left-handed like the devils or Satanists or something like that, because they're left-handed. So I was a little confused why this book as a topic even came up. But I guess as a left-handed person, I still face a lot of struggles that I would never really know because I'm not left-handed.
I mean, just to give a really quick example, the one that was most obvious for me, I'll actually say two, just because one was an advantage, just to be fair, and then another as a disadvantage. So for an advantage, clearly when I was taking tennis lessons, it was really easy to be better than other people on the same level.
A southpaw, I think.
Yeah, and so it was I could easily be as bad as another right-handed person, but because the other person really didn't know how to orient towards my type of style, just because it's obviously coming from different directions, right? It just naturally was something that it was a first mover advantage. It's I just managed to be able to trick the other person. Of course, never my instructor, unfortunately, because they're too good. But I would definitely say that the most obvious comes with sports that require rackets or I guess a dominant hand versus having both hands. So football wouldn't necessarily be a good one for left hand versus right hand. But then as a disadvantage, I struggled a lot, even though I do draw all right, not particularly awesome as in professionally great, but I do draw well. But I doodle. But I used to draw actual real people too. But in terms of that though, just having to learn, I always had to relearn things, because right-handed people would tell me to you can draw a circle this way, and that's something that she mentioned in the book too. It's you can draw it this way, and I would be well, I want to use my left hand, and I'm not doing it this way. I'm going to do it this way, And immediately my art teacher would kind of react to it, not in a bad like, oh, you shouldn't do that shameful way.
Yeah.
But in the sense that like they just from that one gesture, they're like, oh, okay, I'm really lost. I don't know how to teach this person. And like shadowing would be really awkward too, because they would tell me to shadow using like, because now I'm kind of ambidextrous now because of how I've learned to use my right hand.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have to like, they were supposed to be like, you're supposed to tap it like this, you know, with like the pencil. And I would be like, well, I'm gonna naturally gravitate towards this way, so I have to like learn an entirely different type of like shadowing technique to even get the same effect.
Okay.
But of course, like with struggles comes advantage, as in that my art, if I were to really pursue it and go on to it, it could just naturally be more unique. And like people would be like, oh, that's an interesting take on it, instead of like having to like basically follow the rules and go through things. But that basically kind of, like you said, in our outside discussions kind of defines why like we're so different, and maybe why I'm a little less like looser with the rules, because I'm just like half the time I have to break them anyway, so what can I do?
Moving on to the second book, Fortune Cookie, I personally actually enjoyed this book a lot more. The basic premise for this book was the fact that Jamie's mother was starting to get into astrology, fortune telling, horoscopes, and was starting to drain the money. So Jamie became very concerned with this whole thing because she thought that this whole, the whole fortune telling thing was a sham. So she obviously recruited her best friend Ryan to try to come up with facts or notes, etc., to kind of persuade and tell people that these are all scams. So basically the story follows along that premise.
Yeah, and while reading this book, I thought it was really interesting. Again, like with this first book, a lot of it was very plot-driven, not plot-driven, sorry, like very facts-driven, with very little emphasis in terms of character development and plot.
I feel like this one had a little bit more plot, though.
A little bit? Yeah, I guess that's fair,
Because there was more family plot with the whole, like, Jamie's mother situation,
right.
And then finding out, like, trying to persuade her, and then she even started to learn tarot reading herself, like, so I feel like there was definitely more plot in this book than the first book, but regardless, they were both more geared towards like research and facts.
Yeah, and so for this one, I particularly enjoy the fact that she went into detail as to where the horoscopes, the idea of them even came from. So there was also a particular part that we both kind of agreed outside this video was just about like the Chinese horoscope. So do you kind of want to go into how you felt about that?
The Chinese horoscope, I felt like in general, Jane did a really good job in terms of doing like basic, top level research for a lot of the different aspects. But there are other things, for example, with Chinese horoscope, where there's actually lots of hidden elements to it as well. For example, just because you are born the same year doesn't mean that you're all just a regular goats. There are actually lots of elements to it. For example, there's like metal, earth, wood. I think there's like 5 elements total. So depending on which year, I think you can be totally different elements, even though your animal itself is the same. So for example, if you're both goats or like horses or whatever, you can be a metal horse and you could be like a water horse. So, but because you're both different elements, you actually have different characteristics, despite the fact that you're both horses. So I feel like that was not really talked about. But that's also a second level of research that I think maybe she was just doing like, basic research. And another thing I wanted to mention is like the horoscope itself was, everyone mostly knows about their sun sign, if you're a Virgo, Leo, etc. But there's also a moon sign. So a lot of people actually have to know their moon sign for it to be more accurate, because, basically it's like saying everyone who was born within the month of you is the same. That's obviously not true. But depending on what date and what time they're actually born, their moon sign is different. So because of that, they can be totally different. So for example, I'm a Virgo, someone else is a Virgo, but because of they might be born at a different time than me, or more towards the end of the month or beginning of the month than I was, they're totally different because they have different elements. So
yeah, and I actually really like the covers. So
yeah, it was actually interesting because looking at the covers and reading like the synopsis, we actually thought they were more geared toward like middle grade, but I was kind of surprised to find out they're actually more geared towards YA people, just because they're both set in you know, high school, and just because I felt like for the first book especially.
Yeah, so just compare, like, this is what we're used to.
We're used to for YA, and this is what middle grade
kind of is more for the US audience.
Yeah, for US audience. Because, like, usually YA, these are super, like, ethereal and, like, very, like, descriptive, and, like the covers are very, like, intense. And these are more, like, funky, they're a little, you know, like, more artsy, look very different. But yeah, so I was a little surprised, and especially for the first book, we're talking about left-handedness. I was like, for my mind, I was like, oh, it made more sense if she was, you know, middle school, because she could be like, you know, 11 or 12 years old and just be like, oh, I wonder why I'm so different from everyone else, you know, because like, but when you're in high school, I feel like at that point you just really like, you already know. But I guess she was just like frustrated with the world and was just like, I have to write this.
In high school, you know the basics. You know,
yeah,
like physically you're different, but there's a lot of things you don't know in high school still. And also like there's a good amount of cultural like differences in these books that we didn't catch much as a US audience. Because we definitely identified both of these books as happening in the UK. Right. And like there was one particular topic of discussion about how, like, what exactly is college in the books.
Yeah, where her father was like, you're not going to college. And I was just like, at first I was actually confused because I was like, what century is this book written in? What do you mean her father won't let her go to college? Like, hello, everyone goes to college these days. We're now like, you know, in the 1600s. So I was a little confused with that. And plus the whole left-handed thing too. So I was like, I don't understand why this book was like written in the first place because I'm right-handed. I was like, I don't see the purpose of this book. But I understand if she was like, you know, set back in the day where she was still struggling with this and everything, but I guess, you know.
Yeah. But overall, we actually both really enjoyed the books. We did have a question for the author though. Yeah. It's like, are you left-handed, or do you know someone who's really left-handed?
Yeah, because I guess you can say that like she was talking about how she felt very like a personal connection to it. So
she clearly did, so which makes complete sense. But that was actually a question posed by you, I think. Yeah, because you really were like curious as to.
Yeah, I was curious to know if the author herself is left-handed or not, just because it seems like these are struggles and issues that unless you're left-handed you wouldn't really know, or unless you're close to someone who's left-handed and they have told you like their struggles. So I felt like otherwise, like, honestly, like, I was right-handed, I would never have thought to write a book like this. You know? This is something that's, like, more personal.
Yep. So, overall, we both really enjoyed the book. I'd say that each of them would make a really good book discussion topic because all of it is it's so heavy with, like, facts and, like, a lot of quirkiness in general because of just how like the book is kind of designed. Yeah. Like an example or like some of the notes that we see in the books versus like the actual like narrative text. And so yeah, I would say that I would definitely recommend this for anyone who has either interest in finally reading a book a little bit about left-handedness and like why that it might be a little bit of a challenge for those people in this world like me, and then also like study a little bit more of like a kind of primer for astrology as well as a kind of with a cute narrative. And yeah, in general, like we both really liked it.
Yeah, they were really entertaining reads, to be honest. Yeah.
And so like if you liked our review and wants to say more about anything in particular related to these two books or anything that we said, please comment down below and subscribe to us. We have new videos every week coming out with book related discussions or content.
Yeah, and don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
All right. So, thank you guys. Bye.